I'm testing the audio. I'm way later than I usually start, about 3 hours late, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Today we're gonna be working on hopefully making a good chunk of a map. Hopefully. But I'm just gonna really quickly check the audio, make sure it's working. I'll be back in a minute. Oh, okay. Hello. My name is Frank. I do game dev. I'm a game developer. I'm a little sunburnt. This is the beginning of the broadcast where I usually go over everything that happened from when I stopped streaming to when I started streaming just a couple minutes ago. And since I actually streamed yesterday, I was streaming again today. There's not too much. I went to the beach. I went to a dog park beach, and there were a bunch of dogs. And I got really sunburnt. It was a good time. It was a good time. Also, I spent some time and I hopefully set up the microphone to have more balance levels, so I can talk really quietly and you can still hear me, and I can talk really loudly and it's not gonna like break the bank. It's not gonna kill anything. Shouldn't be painful to listen to, but it's a work in progress. It's not as perfected as I want it, but it's a lot better than it was yesterday. So, yeah, we're here. What is the goal of the day? Excuse me. The goal of the day is to effectively start trying to make art. And the easiest way to make art as someone who doesn't know how to make art is to actually just not make art and use pre-existing assets. So what I want to do today is I have a list of some assets which I've already downloaded. And they're all here in this folder. And I actually have a little, oh, you can't see it. I'll just open it. I have a little drawing of sort of a map layout that I want to build. And I think this is going to be a lot more than I can build in one stream. So the goal today is basic terrain and one of the castles, using these assets that I downloaded earlier. And they're all sort of like mismatched. So like we have some tile sets and stuff, but the textures aren't there. So we're gonna have to be slowly putting everything together. And this is actually a really good opportunity for us to sort of alter these assets, alter the textures and everything like that, because that way we can make them a little more stylized, maybe not look exactly like they were on the website. Now, I got all of these from a website called opengameart.org, which is a great resource. And basically, if you go to browse, you can find pretty much whatever you want. So I didn't realize that there's NFT stuff. Oh well. There's 2D art, 3D art, concept art stuff, textures, music, sound effects, a bunch of things. And these are pretty great. What I did is I went to 3D art and I sorted by CC0. So everything is just in the public domain. And I went through the first couple of pages like this. And I just found some stuff that was mostly medieval. And we're going to take that medieval stuff and we're going to put that into our scene. These are just various building shapes. It's cool. That website is like super sick. So, okay. So we have our little valley map. Actually, I want to show off. So this is inspired by a few things. The first thing it's inspired by, which I wrote on this image, is inspired by Battle Creek and Blood Gulch, which are the two Halo maps. And a long time ago, let's see if I can find this. Oh god, it's got to be somewhere. Maybe I didn't save it. But a long time ago, back in high school, I was like trying to quickly make a first-person shooter, which was so much more than I could reasonably chew. And one of the very basic maps was just called Valley. And so what I want to do is take that same sort of layout. Now, this is already more complex. It was literally just 2 box rooms in the middle of a valley with a path connecting them. It was just a demo map. But I want to build a little more complex of a valley, so we still have that same building path to building setup, but we have a river going through the middle, an island that is also going to just, I don't even know how I'm going to talk. There's a path that crosses an island and goes between the 2 castles, and then the 2 castles are multiple rooms. And hopefully I downloaded a couple of castle tile sets, so I showed this one off a little earlier. Obviously the textures are a little broken, but like if we find the gate, does that work? Okay, it at least puts somewhat of a texture on there. I don't even want to use textures this high resolution. We'll probably be doing a lot of editing today. For the images that I got from these, I'm trying to see where the floors are for this. Like I can't just put that on because that'll just completely fuck everything up. But the promo images on the page that I downloaded all this from made it look like an old school Zelda dungeon, and so I was like, okay, that's kind of sick. So that's tile set number 1 for castle stuff, and then we have another tile set, which this is already like sort of separated, and we have pieces. So this will be fun. We're pretty much just going to be taking models, completely replacing the textures, and then if the models are multiple parts, we can sort of separate them a little more and edit them a tad, because even though all of these assets are in the public domain, they don't necessarily all fit together. And so the goal of the day is to make a map that's a little more cohesive. Okay, I'm gonna actually record as well as stream, because I'm gonna probably also rehash this into a little bit of a video. Okay. So what do we got? Well, we should probably start with making some terrain. So we'll just quickly pull one of those out. One thing that actually might be interesting is if I just make a plane, and we can take our little reference image, throw that on there. And now what is the resolution of this reference image? Properties. I'll just open it. Here we go. Properties. And then we'll use this to determine the size. So it is, I'm going to check this off. We can make this, I don't know. I'm going to center it to 0, 0, 0. And then its scale is going to be 2016 by, what is this? 1512. So this thing is massive. We're probably going to want to make this a lot smaller, because you can see like the you can see every pixel. And so like to scale, this thing is huge. This thing is massive. Like it's so big that we have to change how far the camera can even render to look at the whole thing. Okay, so maybe I'm gonna first rename this to reference so we know. And let's do this over 2, and that over 2, and then maybe that again, because that's still really big. Okay, because the terrain we created is not even that big. Okay, let's see, how big is our player pawn? We just drag one of these guys down. Okay, so yeah, we do want to make the reference considerably smaller. Over 2 again, over 2 again, and probably one last time. Okay, that way we get something that is, it's the same ratio, the same aspect ratio, but if we drag out one of our players, you can see that, oh come on, this is actually like somewhat of a reasonable scale. If we're gonna have like a courtyard area here, honestly, it's still a little big. It's still a little big, but at least it's not like way too big. I don't know how to describe this. So we can put our terrain here. I'm gonna do maybe like times 0.8. And do the same thing here. That way we can just use one terrain. Lower this thing down. And I wonder if there's a way to make it so I can't even collide, or like I'm gonna be editing the terrain, and I wonder if I can have it ignore this plane so I can just click on the terrain. Okay, we're gonna need a much larger brush than that for size. Oh god, not even that strong, please. I'm just gonna get the very basic like outline shape going. Oop, okay, so that's the main outline of the map. So we can even, like, if we just raise this reference a tad, we can still see everything, but now it just exists here. It exists within the confines of our terrain. So I'm gonna deactivate this for now, and then we can maybe further edit this. Maybe we can raise these so we actually get some like mountains. I wish it wouldn't reset my brush size every single time. Because this is sort of inspired by Battle Creek and Blood Gulch. So there's sort of just like valley areas in the middle of nowhere. There's not like necessarily rhyme or reason for why these two castles are in this valley. And I think one thing that I will try and come up with as we're developing this map is why are these two castles here? What is the point? What, like, is there some resource? Is it because there's a river going through here? What does that river hold? What is it like? What does it connect people to? Sort of like really trying to explain why the fuck are people here in the context of the game. Lore. Yeah, because honestly, like, good maps are great, but great maps have lore. So it would be great to at least like justify why are we here. There's a whole red versus blue bit about that. Why are we even here? I think that's how they open the show. Okay. Now if we look at our player prefab, you see this is a huge map. Like genuinely a huge map. It's gonna be fun to actually playtest this because it's huge. Also, apologies, I'm gonna be scarfing down the rest of this bagel because I was hungry. Okay. I'm gonna try and build out the island in the center. And mostly just carve where the river is going to be. Oh, jeez. And then we're gonna be able to like pick a height, and we can just use that height for everything here. Like create some sort of like plain area here. That way we can build like a, not like a fountain, but like a meeting area between the two castles. They're enemies, but they're still gonna be like meeting together sometimes, I guess. All right, I think that's pretty okay flow for the river. I don't want to do the math to figure out if like how deep we have to make these to accurately represent the amount of water going through here split over the two parts of the river. I don't really want to feel that's too much math. I don't know fluid dynamics. I don't want to do it. So we're gonna take, I think should just take like some point here. Let's it's shift to sample, and we can, yeah, so this is just gonna slowly, we can make our brush a little larger, not that large. Maybe that's good. And this will just be like the height that our map is set at. So we gotta be really careful when we're painting around the edges to not destroy what's already there. Or what's already sort of like contoured in a good way. So like if I, oh, clicked off. Like if I go into that, we remove part of the mountain, which is not the most fun thing ever. But the middle, we can just really quickly go over, fill out. I always find this process really relaxing until I have to get it just perfect, and then I find it incredibly frustrating. And we're gonna have to somehow paint some sort of hills into this, because having it be flat is great for like building things on it, but ultimately like no actual land looks like this. There's no land that's that flat, especially with mountains surrounding it. That just doesn't exist. Okay, I need to make this stronger. Oh. All right. So we're getting there. Now I just have to slowly go around the edge that we have created and make sure that it doesn't look too bad. And by too bad, I mean that we don't have this sort of little trough. Well, we wanted to go from flat right into mountain. Oh. There we go. And we can always smooth out those little like rough edges later. Just don't want to make it too bad. Like that. Oh well. Okay, we can smooth that out in a second. Okay. That's one half of it. Yeah, we're definitely gonna need to smooth that out. You can just look at it and see, okay, it's a little jarring where the plane connects with everything else. Oh. Okay. Ooh. Is there a trough there? We good? We're good. Okay. Also, some of these mountain shapes are gonna need to be fixed up. I might like look for some mountain models later down the line. But for now, this should be fine. All right. Okay. Back to setting the height. We're gonna use the same height on this side. Just make that. Oh, that's really big. I wish that there was like an accurate way of seeing how large the brush is going to be without having to use it or like leave the viewport. But first world problems. At least I'm able to do this in the editor and I don't have to like somehow generate one. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna really quickly do this and we can smooth it out in a second. Oh, not that one. Okay. Whoop. Yeah, that's better. Okay, smoothing time, and then it's just create a couple of hills, maybe. All right, that's not looking too shabby. I'm actually pretty happy with how this is going. Okay. So now, I guess I don't really feel like painting the terrain yet. So I'm just gonna leave it. Let's take our player prefab, just delete that one. And drag a new one out there. So yeah, the scale of this map is pretty big, actually. Yeah, I want to run around in it. That might take some programming really quickly. So where is everything? Modules. All right, well, this loads. Okay. Oh, those are menus. We want to look for scenes, which would be the network game director. Menu scene, load scene. Okay, so in here we have Valley, and we actually just want to load a map called Valley. Just for a while, it never existed, so you can't load a map that doesn't exist. I just didn't implement that. All right. I need the bootstrap scene because that's just what loads everything, and then we'll load in to the map that way. There's no spawn points, actually, just realize that, so we might be spawning under the map. Here's Valley, all the way at the end. Damn. No, we don't spawn under the map. Some of these are steep though. It'll be filled with water. But that's it. Okay, this actually, it's huge, but it's not horribly huge. I think I just want to scale it down a bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Like, this would be good if we could do like 32 by 32. But I don't think we're gonna be doing that. Also, we need to build the lighting because the lighting was shit, but it's a later problem. We don't have very much lighting to build anyways. So in order to do this, I'm just gonna parent. Ooh. I don't know if there's a good way to resize the terrain other than it just 0.8. Okay, that doesn't work. Uh-oh. Is there a good way to resize it then? Because I have a feeling that if I start doing this shit, we will just lose some of the terrain. Oh, no. Okay, cool. Sweet. We can just really easily make it, we'll do 750 by 750. Actually, it would probably be a good idea to look at how big the not the test map, but the map I stole from Halo Reach, which is just called Creation. How big is this one? Because the terrain is just meant to be outside. You can see these swarms of things are the spawn points. So that's not the largest map, but that's an okay size. If we remove this, maybe we want this at like 600, and then this doesn't really matter. We can just do times 0.6. I'm gonna copy that. Times 0.6 times 0.6. And then everything should still at least mostly line up. If we do that, it doesn't line up exactly. That's all right. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like there's no proportions done. This was just a sketch on my little notepad right here. Okay, so we're good there. All right, now how does this feel? Is it way too big, or are we doing all right? Ah. Multiplayer, I'm just gonna do online because it's easier. Okay, we might want some spawn points. Even just one to test. Yeah, okay, we want a spawn point. Good thing is those are like super easy to add in. I can just yep. Spawn point. Which one is this? This is the new one. I can just boop. We can set this to be any team, and then we just need, God, where is it? I'm just gonna call this map information. And that's our only spawn point, and we don't have a death camera yet. That shit. I'll create one, but we're not gonna need one. Why are you all the way over there? Okay, we'll throw that in there. And then in our map information, we can just leave that there. Deactivate it. That's it. Sweet. Maybe we don't want the map loaded already. Just maybe. That is not the right one. That's the right one. Okay. This feels like a much more proper size. At least this island does. You can hop the gap, which is good. So I think it's probably a good time to start actually adding in stuff. Maybe we go here. Because I know we have all these models. That's the whole point. Now we can actually use the models. Gameplay maps. I'm gonna go to the valley one. The first thing I want to do is actually, I mean, I don't know if this is the kind of bridge we want. Like, this is sort of like a in between two sides of a chasm sort of bridge. But you know, it kind of works. It's all right. I don't know if it's the kind of bridge that we're gonna want. But what that means though is we can look for another bridge. Ooh, come on, you got this. Here we go. It's just we had to make a material. Okay. And the last thing I'm going to do is actually add a little collider to this. It's going to be interesting to try and actually edit some of these textures because it's UV'd. I don't know what that means, but I know that it's going to be not very fun to actually try and edit this, other than like we take these squares and we make them like more solid colors. I think that'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, right now if we were to spawn in on this map, we would go... Okay, apparently we didn't even put that bridge in there. So if we were to just spawn in right now, we'd be able to go to the bridge, but I think we would just fall through it. That is, again, not the right thing. I'm so used to, because I've been testing the character controller for like 5 months, just going to that. All right, no collider. Yeah, I guessed it right. Okay. Gonna load this, unload this one. Clear all that. Yeah, so I guess, I mean, it's, where do we even start? We have this whole reference. So where do we start? What do we want to build first? I mean, one of the castles is probably the play, because this is a game called Castle Wars, at least for now. So why don't we build a castle? I don't even know which castle set I want to go with first. We have a bunch of things. I mean, this is also like a little dungeon set, which would be good for the inside of the castle. And then that was dungeon set 2. This is dungeon set 1, which actually just has a bunch of props and like stairs and stuff, which I'll probably want to take from. Okay, well, let's look at our castles. Look at our castle stuff, and maybe start building out some of these into prefabs. We don't need the camera, and we don't need the sun. It is interesting that they don't have any sort of like gates or pillars. I know if I just like, there's somewhere I have a bunch of, what is this? Is this like, oh yeah, that's not going to be very helpful. Those are very, very much geared for something isometric. But I definitely have, whoa, I have some castle assets with like pillars and gates and all that stuff somewhere. This? Yes, it is this. We want to look at prefabs, and then we have medieval stuff. So, I mean, this is a lot more. I'm gonna lower this again. Lower it. We'll just have that as like water for now. This is a lot more of a bridge I was actually like looking at or thinking of, where it's a bit simpler in design, and it doesn't look like it would be strung out over a chasm. It looks like it's just gonna cross a river. I feel like if there are just two gigantic castles and the only other space is here, they wouldn't have this quote unquote like cheap, they'd put more effort into their bridge, you know, and so that we'd have something that looks a little bit more like this. Okay, I'm gonna smooth out this. All right, and then now if we have like the water level there, looks normal. I also kind of want to bring in like a default little water texture. Yeah, let's do that really quick. Dang, okay. I know I was testing art style stuff here, so maybe if we just go here, copy that. You can do it. You can do it. Come on, computer. There we go. And if we paste this, then we have a quote unquote ocean, which in this case is going to be a river. And then we can just make this thing huge. Which this is what I've done for water in almost every single map. Honestly, the biggest issue with it is just that it's not very great. I'll be probably getting either getting a water shader or something that can like or some asset that can help me make this into like a more proper river, where this is like very much just like, yes, the waves move, but they're almost like just wind waves. So, all right, we have one bridge here. I'm gonna just copy paste that, and we can have another bridge. Where on the reference is this other bridge? It's all the way over there. We will see if this bridge is long enough for that. And if not, we can just edit the terrain a bit. There we go. And I just want to smooth that out. There we go. Okay, these have mesh colliders, which aren't the most optimized thing ever, but it should be fine. I want to really quickly see if there's any way to get this to stop raising and lowering as much. Because you can see that the water level does change, and it's not changing enough here to where it's really going to change anything about the map. Nah, I'll leave it. That's a detail I don't need to work on right now. Okay. Okay, multiplayer, online. There we go. Okay, so we definitely still need to like build what's it called? The lighting. Because it's still looking kind of maybe shit. Can't see much of anything here. Oh hey, we just instinctively know this is water. Cool. I can cross that out already off the checklist. Check that box off. These bridges do feel very big though. Like I might find a way to make them a little smaller just because scale wise. And the other thing is we could also make, we don't want to make the players larger, but like maybe make the scale of the map still a little smaller. Yeah, that's weird. So that maybe the bridges can be more normal sized. Like that's probably, for how big the players are, a good sized bridge. Okay. Then we'll make this work. We'll make this work. We want the terrain. What are we clicking on? Here we go. Set the height. There's so many messages. Hello. How you doing? I am making a little map. I'm trying to teach myself how to make art. And the way that we're starting to do that is by taking other people's art and editing it. I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I'm very sunburnt. I spent a lot of yesterday at the beach, and I may or may not have forgotten to wear sunscreen the entire time. So it's my bad. Don't feel bad for me. I did that not on purpose, but it was preventable. All right, I think that's starting to look better. I mean, that right there does not that does not look good. Come on, you can go quicker than that. and then I'm just gonna conveniently raise the water level so that way the bridges don't look like they're just like they stop there. I'm gonna need to find a way to sort of we can build out the terrain really quick. I'm gonna tunnel into this little detail for now. We can sample that height. Take maybe that one. And just build out little banks. Move the ocean. Nope. It's that height. Just build out like a little bit of a bank so that way, because we are able to swim, probably be a good idea to not just completely have these models cut off. There we go. There we go. All right, now we can go and just do a smoothing pass. Leave that one. That can go. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, that's good enough. I'm not too worried about the actual like corners because it'll look like that. Okay. Now let's play test this. See if it feels a little bit better to play with these bridges a little smaller. Multiplayer. Okay. Yeah, these bridges feel a lot better, mostly because like looking parallel to the ground, we can see over the sides, which I will take. Okay. So what's next? We can either paint some paths, we can maybe try and get some trees in here, or we can completely build out a castle. And I think I'm gonna go with the castle. I'm gonna bring our reference up so we can see it. It's there. And now it's time to build a castle. So Castle Wars gameplay. Yeah, I have no idea how great these assets are. They sort of, I mean, they say that they're like castle building blocks, but I don't truly agree. They look more just like pieces to things. Maybe let's extract some of these tiles. Get rid of the camera, get rid of the sun. That plane. Okay. I'm bringing back that sun just so we can look at it. There we go. Okay. So how do we want to do this? We have a little gate here, which is cool and all. Very, very Dusk 2 doors looking. And we don't really have any like you know the big walls on the outside of the castle. These feel like inside walls. They don't feel like the big ones. Let's see if I go here, because this little asset. Oh god, the lighting is so bad. They do have like these feel like outside walls because the pillars are a little more broad. They're a little larger. I mean, I don't really like that they don't taper out at the top, but what are we gonna do? I guess one thing that we can do is take these little like gates and throw them at the front of the castle. God, okay. How long is it gonna take to build the lighting? Because it's kind of not great. And it's impacting my ability to see everything. I might just make it unlit. Actually, force stop. We don't want We don't want this to contribute to lighting. Okay, we're good. No more cast shadows. It's gonna make it unlit. There we go. Thought I stopped you. Okay, whatever. I definitely clicked force stop. It didn't stop. So that's fun. Okay. Okay. And now we get to just lower that again. How big is the gate? That's all I really want to check. Are the proportions good for the player? Once we have like a few things proportioned correctly, it shouldn't be too hard to keep the scale set. But I don't want to build a castle that is just way too big for the player. And then just keep going. I want to test it at the beginning. All right. Oh, this is a good size. If we can, basically, if we can just fit 2 players in between and then they can go side to side, this is good. Okay. That's good enough. Good enough for me. Now we can take some of the walls. I'm assuming that there's walls here. That's a stone brick. Oh, here we go. Walls. Scale of 2. And then a height of 5, or a Y position of 5.55. Okay. Oh, and there's these. Okay, sweet. So we can at least get a proto castle going. We won't have all of the assets maybe that we want, but we can at least start. Okay. We're gonna have to forgive my, since this is a drawing, I don't draw straight lines apparently. This box is not super boxy. That's fun. Okay, I'm gonna just steal one of these. What is this? There we go. Now that's a little pillar. Damn. Things are massive. Where's the window? There's a window. Want to push this to that side. At some point I'm probably going to be making my own little castle assets so that way players can run in and out of these, but for now this is okay. And what I'm trying to do is line up this as close to this one base as I can so that that way everything is like mostly on a grid. Yeah. There we go. God, the only thing is, it's like you gotta get it just perfect. The other thing that's not maybe so great about this is that like this whole gate right here, we can't like further take apart. Actually, can we? No, we can't further take apart. And if we want to have, say, an archway right here, we're gonna have to change some things, because these are the only assets we have from this pack that can actually build us a little castle. Oh, that's fun. Oh, they have a well at least. That's cool. It's neat. Not everything is going to be low poly, and a lot of this, I mean, is just going to take multiple revisions. I'm not going to like build this all at once and it's going to be perfect. I don't think anything is made like that. Alright, how does this feel? We need to move the little outcropping that we made. Just smooth this down. It's fine. I'm so used to the old Unity terrain system where each of these were the different functions of this. And so I always click off to where they feel like they should be. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's move in that one bridge. Now we can just want the terrain selected. That height. There we go. Smoothing time. How does this look down here? Definitely needs some smoothing. Whoop. Whoop. There we go. Okay. And now we're gonna try and play it again. I want to see how the scale of the whole castle feels. Because even if it isn't what exactly we want to use in terms of like the models and everything, at least if we can get the scale right, we have the scale right. And then we can just replace it with newer models. Okay. So those towers are a little too high. Don't know how I didn't notice that. But the actual scale of this room feels alright. It does feel like this would be the entire room, like the entire castle can be that big, and we can further subdivide it. But it's just gonna be a big map, I guess. Okay, let's bring these down. Yeah, this is just going to be a massive map. I mean, at some point later in development, I want to add in vehicles, and this might be an okay map for vehicles, except for the fact that these two bridges exist, so you're going to have to try and find a way. Like, maybe we could just put ramps on the sides, and then if you have like a lot of this is based on Halo, so if you have like a warthog, just jump it. It'd be funny. Okay, let's it's gonna be, you know what? You know what? Here. I was thinking of sprays earlier. Let's just go to opengameart.org. That is OpenGameArt. And we're just gonna look for modular castles. The 3D art, public domain. Because like I think we even have this, which is great, but you can see that it doesn't really get too high. Okay, and then I'm just gonna sort by a bunch of things. There we go. Modular castles. I think I have this one downloaded. Some modular dungeon, and then this is something else. This is that second pack that we have, or maybe it's the first one, which is great for a castle which has like 2 levels. You have the floor and then 1 up. And I guess you could just tile it out and do another one. Okay, this is great, but not really what I'm going for. Let me see if I have this. Dungeon Collection 2. Is that actually, that might be in already. Did I call it Dungeon Collection 2 or did I call it Dungeon Collection 1? Okay, let's see what we can make with this, because this is like, this just has like stackable walls, and we could probably make some like really basic towers out of this. So I also have a dungeon set too, which, what does this look like? If Blender loads. If it doesn't load, we're screwed. We're hosed like all the way. Okay, this one we have here. Look at that. And then so this is that's set 2, which, you know, that's dungeon tiles, like whatever. That, so set 2 here is not called set 2 here. Okay, okie dokie. So I guess let's build some pillars. Just gonna build one over here. Make this even larger. So we have, where are all of these? There's a wall, apparently. Oh, it's a tapered wall top. So these are our curved walls. Pillar mid wall. Pillars are really basic. They're just cubes. I wish that it had some prefabs. Obviously, it's not a Unity set. It's just models, so we do got to put them together ourselves. What is this? Is this just broken floor? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so let's start by putting these together. We can, what is this? Large curved ramp. We don't want that. We want stairs. Oh, this is gonna be a long process. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do both of these 0 amount. Okay, there's a little bit of Z fighting. That's fine. I can deal with Z fighting. And let's see what they have. They have some pictures that show some stuff off. So I guess we can probably try and recreate this. It also would not hurt to just recreate a wall, a straight wall. Cracked wall. Why can't we? What? There we go. That was crazy. Couldn't even see transform properties. Okay. So now I'm just gonna create an empty parent called this curved stairs section. And how do we get this to line up? I think that's it. Cool. All right. So something, can we further subdivide these? Yes. Okay, cool. So these are actually set up in such a way, like the steps are one object, but these curved walls are actually two, which is perfect because that means that we can get rid of the ones in the middle if we want to. And it means that we can actually just, like, I can duplicate this. We can, instead of calling this a curved stair section, we can just call this maybe a tower outside. And we can get rid of the steps and the wall incline. We just have this curved wall. We can get rid of the inner one. We can change the scale a tad, just until it is right on the edge of where we are. How am I talking? Right on the edge of the little staircase thingy. And then we can just do that. The only issue is it then does not exactly line up with the grid, which is fun. What we can do though is use this, just rather than calling it the tower outside, we'll just rotate it 90 degrees, and then this can go underneath that. And then we can, let's bring that back. I don't know what we're gonna call this. We're just rotate that by 90, move it there. There you go. So now that's a whole floor's worth of elevation change. That's one flight. And then I guess let's try and add in the floor. Prop floor barrel. Oh, these are props. Struct floor. There we go. I'm gonna zero you out. And then let's just have this at 0, 0. Because that actually does line up on the grid, and then we can move that over. Move that over. I'm just gonna call this, oh god, that one. 2 by 2 floor. And that way now we have a 2 by 2 floor. We have 2 2 by 2 floors. We have 4 2 by 2 floors. Cool. Okay. I'm just gonna extend this all the way up and over. There we go. I don't know how big this is, like if with our player on. Oh. You know what? This is the same size. Just put it on the thingy. Are there no collisions on these? I don't think there's. Oh, that's gonna be rough. Okay, scale wise, not too great. This is, I'll just call this understairs. Which maybe we don't even need for that. Because ideally this is going to be already on another floor, so we could like take this one and that one. We don't even need that one at all. They're just going to exist on different floors. Okay. It's going to take me a while to get used to building with these. I'm going to close that because we already have all of the assets I even saw. Okay. So now the fun part, how are we going to actually build out a little tower? Like this at least, you know, we have stairs to go up, but how do we build out an actual tower? Where it's just like a flat wall. That's a... What is this? Oh, that's just... It's for the bottom detail. It's a pillar. Pillar. How do I search just within this folder? Unity search within folder. Prefab job. Oh, okay, so we can type in the whole directory and just, I don't feel like it. We'll just look manually. Struct, so P, this is a wall cracked, which means that wall ceiling, wall. Those are kind of cool, actually. Wall joint, wall straight top, wall main. Zero this out. It's worth noting that it actually does sit on the edge of the grid. Yeah. Ah. Okay. Let me actually let's bring up MS Paint. I want to like figure out how big or like what the sort of layout of this tower should be. So we're gonna have ground, and then maybe I'm still debating if I want it to be a cylinder or if I want it to be a square, and I think it would probably be best to just make both. So let's start with a square one. And the way that this is, the way that I want this to work is that it sort of tapers out like that, sort of like a rook in chess. And then Wow, my drawing is bad. We'll just assume that my drawing is better. So it'll taper out like a rook in chess, but it'll be a square, and then we'll have one door on the inside. So out and in. This is the inside of the castle. We'll have one door, and then we'll have a spiral staircase up, and then maybe a door here. So that way this can go, I'll just say out to a wall. That way we can walk on top of the walls. Okay, we don't even need that open. Okay. I'm actually gonna not have that yet, and I'm just going to, we'll leave the floor that's currently there. I'm gonna build this wall out. Okay, so I guess we're gonna have some overlap, and that's what the whole idea of a wall joint is for. We can zero all this out. There we go. And then that conveniently just fits right there. You won't be able to see an easy fighting unless you look at it on the top. Okay. No, maybe we don't have those selected. This is not going to be fun to build collision for. Just saying. All right, there's that. And then now I'm gonna at least take the wall joints, spin them around all the way. That's so unhelpful, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll attach this one over here, and then move this one to there. And maybe we just take these two. That way we have a little gap to walk into at the base of the tower. Okay. Are there windows here? Construct wall, big door, upper. It's still like one tile wide. I want this to be a 2 tile wide door, so we might just be making something a little more jank. Okay. All of this stuff though, this entire thing, we can make this, it's called a wall level or a tower wall level. Nope, nope, nope. Create empty parent. Tower wall level. And now we can just duplicate this. Bring it up. And then do that again. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I do wonder if there is a way to have like we have pillars. I wonder if there's a way to have a pillar right in the middle. Just goes up the center. Okay, what does this look like then? So that's just a square. That works. Okay, one of those would work. Oh, but of course there's two of them. Ooh, curved blocks. What does this mean? Like, what is this a reference? Oh, got it. Got it. Wonder if we can. Wonder if this will fill some spaces here. No. It's great for making this seem a little more rounded, but it's okay. We don't need those right now. So then I guess we can just use, I mean, we just need a pillar. Okay, we'll build it out like this. What is this? Did I leave that in? No, I don't. I think I still did the wrong part. Okay. We have this. I'm gonna put it at 10, 0, 0. Oh, that's okay. That's how the pillars work. So then we'll take this then. Put this at 10, 0, 0. Pillar, corner topper. No, we just want a pillar topper. Pillar topper. Barely. Not barely. Okay. Boom, boom. Sweet. So that's a pillar. That's actually not horrible. 4, 2, 3, 4. I don't know how big of a pillar I want, but we can at least create this and call it a pillar, I guess. The whole pillar. Okay, that doesn't look too hot. Nope. I'm noping out of that one. Okay. I'll just leave this over here then. Yeah. All right, so now it's time to get creative and try and like come up with some sort of like covering for the store since it's two units wide. And what I kind of want to do, I want to see if this is 2 objects, which it is. And we can rotate this 90 degrees and probably 90 again. Bring this up. 0, 0, 0 it. Okay, it at least mostly aligns with one of these. I'm gonna bring that over. And that at least doesn't look awful. It looks better than I guess it could be. Is this struct wall base? Okay, yeah. So now we just gotta take a bunch of these, put them around the edges of our little foundation. Like that. And we can put one here. Copy it over. Okay, and then these four get put on the other side. God. Okay, fine, fine. Oh, there's Z fighting. Okay, that's fun. I mean, there's got to be like these are the corners for the joints. I wonder if there is something I can put on the edges. Just sort of fill it out. Okay. God, this is gonna take so long to build out, but it'll be fun. I mean, I find this pretty relaxing. All right, and then we want this zeroed out. Did I not click the right one? Wall joint topper. Yeah, we don't want the top one. We want the base. There we go. Okay, so clearly this whole set right there is a little too far out. There we go. How does this look on the inside? Oh, it looks normal on the inside. Sweet. That's all you can really ask for. Just please be normal. All right, and then we just need one more of those. Okay. So now, other than the Z fighting, and I want to make it so that we actually have a whole nother level of this. God, there's so much here. This is just going to be tower base. I'm just going to combine all this so it's a little easier to handle. Floor one. Put under the base. And then those are all the walls. At some point I'll figure out how to add in windows, but for now, it's not going to happen. Okay. Okay, we want that one, but we maybe don't want those just yet. Okay. Well, how high do we want? There's so much Z fighting going on. That's going to be fun to deal with. Maybe we don't even want this one yet. If we want the entrance and exit to be on the same side, then we probably want to go up even further. No, it would be so much easier. Duplicate that one. There we go. And then we can duplicate this section now. And now we have floor. Which, honestly, this would kind of work perfectly because the wall is going to have to, like, we can't necessarily put the center of, it'd be fine. I don't know what I'm talking about to some extent, but, it'd be fun. It'd be fun. This is going to be a pain to make colliders for. Okay. Let's just select 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then that is at the height in which we can start bringing the first 3. Now we're starting to get a tower going. Real question though, do we not keep the staircase going so that way when we get to the top of the tower we can actually go out the top of the tower? I think that's a good weapon. Okay, this is gonna be a curved stair light. And the only reason I'm doing that is that I can rotate this 90 degrees and it will stay on the grid. For the most part. Okay. There we go. Now that's matching up. How do we even want to do this? Might be a good idea. Delete that part of the wall. No. Just do something like that. I don't even know. I don't know what the play here is. That can work. That can work. Okay. And then now we can just get rid of this last little... Where is this? Last little section. Because that's already at the top. Oh no. Why are we like that? 8.5, 9. Is that how it's supposed to be? Yeah, that is how it's supposed to be. Okay. We set it at 9, and then now if we move this whole thing up, we're even. Okay. We gotta respect the grid. You have to respect the grid. Oh god. Okay. This is like, I mean, it's kind of nice doing it this way. Came for Destiny tech support, safe for the game dev. Yes. Yes. we're back. We're making models, or not. We're not really models. We're taking a bunch of models and trying to make things out of them. And I'm still bad at it. I'll leave that there for now. No. There's so much Z fighting. Also, like, this is gonna be really fun because there's so many parts that make up this thing. And with all of this, there is no collision and no textures yet. So this is gonna be fun. This is genuinely gonna hurt, but ideally we build out a set of modular assets and then we can just build whatever. Also, this is kind of nice because this whole game was inspired by Halo Reach and specifically the Forge section. And so the fact that we now have, or that I'm building things using modular assets like you would in Forge, is kind of nice. Okay, it is probably time to figure out how to make all of these have colliders. All of these just get our simple box collider. Done. Oh no. It's gotta be 0.25. It's gotta be 0.25. And then you just subtract that, so negative 0.125. I don't even know where. 0.2 maybe? Oh yeah, okay. Why am I building it in the bootstrap scene? Oh god. Didn't mean to. Kind of just got carried away. The good thing is that all of this is separate, so I can just move that over. I think I just have the bootstrap scene open because the only way for me to test this with my character controller is to load it through the bootstrap scene. Okay, those are all lined up now. That's good. I'm gonna have to slowly build out prefabs. For now, I'm just gonna an empty parent. We're gonna call this tower. I'm gonna move this tower into our world. Just gonna put it right next to where the player spawns. Oh hey, we even brought the pillar with us. That's cool. Could be worse. Makes sense. Hey, you've been watching so many Blender. What are you trying to make in Blender? I took the easy route and I just went to opengameart.org and downloaded stuff. And so I'm just gonna like redo some of the textures. What's the main wall called? Wall underscore straight. Can't believe they have to specify that. Some character models. Oh, good luck. Good luck. There's a lot to making characters, and I'm really not looking forward to having to make some myself. Okay. These all also need box colliders. And now which size is gonna make these? 0.2. Now they're all off axis. I think your goal is to have a nice foundation mesh and then kind of roam after that. Yeah. Yeah, no, character modeling does not seem very fun. Just instinctively, I have a friend who did some of that and they liked it, but it was also very, very frustrating. Okay, we don't want it on that. That's right. Walls are on the edges of the grid. And now we just need them to go up. Oh, not on X, on Y. Okay, that's at least, we have all the wall colliders. Most of them. Okay, yeah. Oh no. Why were some of those done that way? Especially if you don't know what you're doing, you just go blind into it. Yeah, so the extent of my like Blender knowledge comes from making like higher resolution primitives, and then there was one time where I tried to make like FPS arms and rig them, and that went so horribly that I just never opened Blender again. At least not to like make anything. Downloaded some Pokemon Auras models. I don't know how to pronounce that. Auras. And it was really insightful. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the way that I sort of see modeling is like you have all these phases, or you like start with some primitive and then you slowly extrude out, and you have to like somehow think about like a route on how to do that as you go. But you have to sort of have that in mind when you start, and it's kind of just hard. I'm very much an archaeologist, in where I sort of just dig somewhere, and when that doesn't work out, I dig somewhere else. I'm not very good at planning out everything right from the get-go. Started with a donut tutorial. That's a classic. Absolute classic. And ended there. Fair. Super fair. Oh no, I just realized maybe I should be using... I'm gonna make some of these into prefabs, because these are just gonna be real pains to build. Is this the first map? No, but also yes. So I have a few maps. It's just that this is... I want to actually start developing the art style, so this is sort of my playground for doing that. But I have a couple of maps. They're just really, really simple demo maps with almost no art in them. They're just like prototype textures. Okay, I need to make some prefabs. If not, I'm gonna go crazy. And we'll do it here. Okay, so we're gonna take a curved stair section, and then in here, we're gonna rename this. Rename file. And then all of these are going to get mesh colliders. Super unoptimized, but that is not how you spell mesh collider. There we go. So now when we look at them, they at least have some amount of collision, and then we get to completely ruin a lot of our existing work. And I'm just gonna remove all of these curved stairs. Curved stair flight can go, and then these can also go. Well, what is the local position of this? That way I can at least get started. It's -1, 1, -1. That hurts a bit. What hurts a bit? The mesh colliders, or the fact that I have to build out everything like a little bit by bit? Both. Yeah. I wish I didn't have to use mesh colliders. They're kind of... I've heard they're like horribly unoptimized, but it kind of makes sense because it's really like there's so many algorithms that help you determine if something is inside of a box or a sphere or something. So I get it. It's just like it's really hard to check mesh faces. You have to use, I don't even know what the algorithm would be. But that's fine. We'll optimize later. Okay, that's stairs number 1, and then turn that all the way around. I mean, at least with the prefabs, it doesn't like hurt as much. It's still not fun, but it could be a lot worse. No, we just don't even want that at all. Cool. Okay, so now there should be at least enough collision to get up the tower, and I want to try it. Okay, let's unload this. Nope. All right. I mean, it's an okay size, but we're too small to do anything in this. Damn. Okay. Alrighty. Well, simple solution. Make this a lot larger. Also, this is so unoptimized having all of these box colliders, because it's so much easier to just check within one box. So I'll probably be spending a good chunk of time building out castle prefabs and making the collisions better. Like, this is probably going to be a few day long project. As with everything I decide to do, I think it's going to take a few hours. It's going to take a lot longer than that. Okay, is this large enough? Yes. Okay, that's actually not horrible. Okay, that doesn't work too bad. Okay. I wonder if there's a way to steal like those bricks and just like put them on the outside of this thing. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna finish making the top of this tower, and then I guess like the doors. I'd love to put in windows, but I don't know where and how. Nope, we want. There isn't really a good place to like end where we want the floor to be. Like end the staircase going up. It's because with this sort of floor section, I think if we were to cover this, that is not going to be enough spacing for the player to actually get in and out of it. Oh, they're not off axis. This thing is. Yeah, I have a feeling the player's not gonna be able to get up and out of this thing. Let's see. Oh, no, we can. Cool. Now we get to see if there are any sort of assets that we can use to fill out the gap right here. Oh, that's going to make things kind of hard. You have some kind of roadmap going on. I found it pretty useful in my last big project. Yes, kind of. So I have a really big Trello board, like really big Trello board. And sort of each list is one sprint. And I was following this to a T until we got to the end of this and I had to implement game modes. And so I started like really testing multiple players. And one really big quirk about the player character controller at the moment is that if you're not on this, if you're not the server, if you're not the host, it's super jittery because I took all the client-side predictive stuff for granted and I was just like, I'll figure it out later. And so I'm sort of like roadblocked trying to get client-side prediction working. And we're even further roadblocked because I'm trying to get network triggers working and they're not. And so I've been DMing with the developer trying to get them working, and we'll see if that happens. But I do have a little bit of a roadmap. Ultimately, I have a couple of test maps. The only reason that I'm currently working on this map is because I want to start developing an art style while I'm roadblocked on the actual like development. Once I'm not roadblocked on the client-side predictive character, then we're sort of back to like mainline development. I'll build out the game mode system, and then with that, I just need to add content. Literally only had in progress completed untackled. Yeah, I have been working on this project in big air quotes for like 3 years. I did a lot of prototyping and I really went down the path of let's get every feature I want implemented in single player before I even think about multiplayer. And what ended up happening is I had to like almost entirely go back to the drawing board back in November and re-implement everything from the ground up to be multiplayer. And now I'm seeing that I need to make sure that everything is client-side predictive. Am I using rigid body or a character controller? Good question. I'm using easy character movement too, so I think technically just a character controller. It has a rigid body on it, but all of the physics stuff is handled by easy character movement 2's character. And even that's like subject to change. Realistically, all that is being kept of this in the rewrite of the character controller is on this player pawn we have a character movement script, which is part of easy character movement 2. That is the only actual component I stole for the client-side predictive character, because their first person controller, which is what I based my player pawn off of, has so many variables in it that you actually need to sync and reconcile that I didn't feel like troubleshooting each individual variable, so I just am building one from the ground up. When you say you made the same mistake, that's the built everything single player and then realized that it needs to be multiplayer, and you can't like the design of the entire game is different, and it's like, okay, well now I have to completely restart. Like I know what I want, but you have to just make it again. Yes. Yeah. No, it honestly, making that realization sucked because it was like, I've already put so much time into this. And the good thing is like anything that doesn't need to be replicated over the network. Like I have a whole suite of controller support stuff built into this. can still be used, and even like a lot of the same movement code is able to be used. You just have to like package it differently. But it's not fun. It's really not fun. And I was able to, at least like the training ground is the same map as it was 2 years ago, just with a couple more things, because I really went ham on adding in character controller stuff. But yeah, honestly, this whole trying to modularly make a castle thing might be a bust if I in 2 days don't have an entire castle going. Like this is just 5 pieces, but I wanted a little more granular control. So we'll see. I'm trying to like come up with how I can make art in an efficient way, something that's kind of quick and isn't too hard. Okay. Large curved floor. Okay. What does this look like? We want the opposite of that. Wall topper. Curved wall top. Great. Love that. Is there anything? Any floor pieces that allow for this? Yeah, the best way would be to have a medium-sized library of smallish assets in which you can combine together. Exactly. So what I think might be the play here, because like I'm a programmer, I think in abstraction, is to take like, let's say like this 2x2 grid for the floor and make that just like work, give it a box collider, just one total one, and then make that into a prefab, and then we can use the prefab to sort of like build stuff out. Last time you had to build a castle in 3D, you just copied the composition of a Minecraft build. Okay, you know what's crazy? So I built out this like little map, or I drew it out, and while I was doing that, I actually looked up Minecraft castle layout. Let's see what pops up, because I wanted to just like sort of see what was there. And I also like wanted to contextualize like what is each room. So like storage, kitchen, dining room, library. And so then you can come up with like names for each of the rooms. And so I'm just gonna full cam this. Actually, no. I imported this into the editor. So I just took a picture of it and I pulled it in as a reference. So like this side's castle is going to have a big old hall, a keep, a dungeon, a market, and then a little courtyard in the front. And then this one has a keep, a dungeon, a hall, just like the other one, but I have a little like tombstone, not a tombstone, but like a grave model. So I want to make a graveyard style, or like a there's a word for it, like one person's grave over here, maybe like some king or lord or something. And then just have another courtyard. So I was looking at Minecraft castles because that was the only place I'd ever seen someone be like, okay, this is where the market is gonna go, this is where the big hall for eating is gonna go, this is the throne room, that sort of stuff. And I didn't really know what to look up to get there. We can close that one out. Okay. I just want to see if there's a way to like cover off these little gaps for the same. God, what is this? Oh, okay, well, we don't need those. Other than that, I haven't really built a full map in 3D. Yeah. Okay, that's a quick. That's funny. You're gonna get removed. Those stairs look dangerous. Well, the stairs themselves are fine. It's the gaps in between the stairs and the walls that are dangerous. And actually, if I save this and then we go into the game, I can show you take a good chunk of fall damage. Yeah. Her experience with coding, which it's yeah. I think that was probably more of like an out of body experience for Tiffany. Yeah. So if we go up the stairs, since I have fall damage implemented, it's like we can just God, why am I getting stuck on like every... Oh, that's fun. Okay, there's got to be some sort of collision overlap. But if you fall down, we actually take fall damage. So it's like, yeah, the stairs themselves not dangerous. The gaps between the stairs and the walls, those are dangerous. Okay. I'm just trying to think of the best way to like sort of make those medium-sized assets that are just a little more usable. Also, like, what is it with the collisions? I wish I could just see all of them. But no, they're mesh colliders. Yeah, okay, let's look though. Is there anything you could just close that gap? That's what I'm trying to do, but the little pack that I downloaded doesn't really have too much. I mean, it has these like they're called subtracts, where I don't know. I mean, let me just snap these to a grid really quick. I guess put them under the tower. So like I presume that this can, like, maybe if I scale this up, it would work pretty well. It's at least like something that would make that gap a little smaller to the point where we can't fall into it. Oh god, okay, I'm gonna just get this back onto a grid. Yeah, like something like this could work. Maybe we made it just twice as large. That at least is like mostly on the grid. Wait, that's how it snaps? I thought it's supposed to go 1, 2, 3. Oh, because the scaling is different. Oh god. Okay. Well, at least this like mostly works. I'm gonna get rid of this tapered one, so we just have the curved ones. Even if it overlaps, it should be, yeah. Yeah, it's just start to texture it. Oh god, it's also like really hard to see what we're working with. Is that easy fighting? Are those on the... You gotta respect the grid. And that at least makes it so we can't just like straight fall out. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna take this. We're gonna make a parent. I'm just gonna call this gap filler. That's what Tiffany was trying to sell. Okay. That's not horrible. The only thing though now is that they don't have true. Okay. That makes so much more sense. Nope. Not very helpful. What? Okay, what tool is it? Is it this one? I'll just where are we? Gotta select that. There's a way to like drag the edges down, almost like you were editing it's like something in 2D. I don't remember what tool it is though. Yeah, the Tiffany joke. I know. Just sort of just what happened. Hey, it's been a minute. How you doing? All right, that's a little too tall. Oop, Jesus. Okay. Okay, does that go all the way down? If it goes below, that's fine. I'm not mad about that. That will deal. Okay, well, we can't use that one because it covers all the doors. But let's see. Yeah, now for sure no one ain't going there. You switched to Godot. Oh, okay, hold on. I remember you were working on a game, and I remember you like finished the main menu, but I don't remember the premise of the game. Like, what was the elevator pitch? And if I recall correctly, you were trying to use Unreal at the time. So I actually really respect the switch to Godot. Because you forgot what? Okay, so you're just developing stuff in Godot. What are you working on? What you working on right now? Okay, this is at least that's better. Oh, snow mesh colliders. Oh, that's right. Brachy's is back. I assume that's how you pronounce it, but I have no idea. How do you like Godot? I've been wanting to learn it, and I think one of these weeks I'll just commit the entire week to learning it. But I haven't gotten there yet. I think it's interesting. And I also think it's gonna outlive both Unity and Unreal just because it is open source. Oh god, the save took a long time. Okay. Let's see. We can always just take some of these cracked floors and put them in. Yeah, I mean, how long has Godot been around? When was Godot created? February 2014. Yeah, I mean, so Unity has been around a lot longer than that. That's 2005. Unreal Engine has been around for a long time. It just went free with Unreal 4, which was in like what, 2013? Yeah, also 2014. I think, I mean, I would love to try to use Godot. I think that in the next couple of years, because Unity shot themselves in the foot last September, we're gonna see a lot of people swapping to this, or people who have already swapped to it. But I mean, where's the there's gotta be a demo reel. I saw some video where it was like, here are the games that people made with Godot in 2023. Here we go. And it just, some of the stuff, I mean, it all looks good, but like, I'm mostly working 3D. This looks sick. Like, I think this game looks absolutely ballin'. This, I don't really like. Some of the like 2D sort of like mobile game art styles I'm not huge on. Window kill. I have a friend who plays this. This is actually a really cool concept. The goal of this game is to keep all of the windows closed. And so you do that by playing the game, but it'll create more and more windows with enemies and stuff like that. And the windows will change in size. I think like window kill is one of the coolest concepts from last year. This is sick. I mean, at least the art style is sick. I feel like if you were on some illicit substances, that would be really cool. This looks like a tool. Yeah, no, like Godot is sick. I agree. I think that some of the things that it can do, I mean, it can do pretty much anything that any other engine can, because an engine's still just a tool. But like, I mean, I did a game jam 2 weekends ago using a game engine called Bevy, and then the whole thing is in Rust. And like it's an engine. It doesn't have an editor. You just have to program everything. But it's got some like pretty powerful stuff in it. So like with just, I don't think it's gonna load all of the code there. But it's got some like pretty powerful like rendering stuff for just being like a little package you download. And so I tried that. I think I would still prefer something with an editor for like making maps, because just trying to make like a tile based map in that was painful, and trying to edit UI was like brutal. So I think that like if we had some sort of open source engine like Godot, eventually it will be the best one. It just won't, it'll never see the sort of feature growth that we see from a commercial engine like Unity or Unreal. Yeah, I guess it's kind of a framework. I don't really understand like what is the definition of a framework. Programming definition. There we go. It was a framework, an abstraction in which software providing generic functionality can be selected for additional user written code. Yeah. It's pretty much a framework. I would still call it an engine, but it's effectively just a library. So however you want to make that, you can. I did computer science and I don't know all the definitions. What else do we got? Oh, that's a VR game. That's pretty sick. Yeah. No, like I think Godot is gonna be able to outpace Unity pretty soon. At least in terms of like what the general public is doing with it. But right now it's like I could swap to Godot, but I'd end up in the same position that I am in Unity, where it's like ultimately what's holding me back is not the engine, it is my ability to create things in it. So like I have spent the last how long have I been live? 2.5 hours struggling to make a map. Yeah, Unity always loads some useless libraries. What is the one thing I'm interested in? What is the minimum Godot project size, like when you build it? Because I know with Unity, it's like the smallest your project can be is like 40 megabytes. Even if it's 2D and has like, if it just has no art in it, it's one scene, it's like 40 megabytes. And then you have games like Animal Well that come out and the whole game is 30 megabytes. So it's like clearly they did something. I mean, what was Animal Well made in? Well, engine. They used a proprietary engine. Cool. It can be 30 or 40. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, the other one I wanted to check, Stardew Valley's engine. That is Monogame. Which is it actually? Or is that, it's gotta be like a custom engine, I think. Godot doesn't leave DLLs. You build your game from pure code, it's always going to be lighter. Yeah, because there's just so much overhead that Unity has. So like, unless you're using it all, it will just add a little bit of bloat to the project. Monogame. I feel like this is also I think this is a 2D engine. Showcase? Yeah, this looks like a 2D engine. This is nothing wrong with that. This looks like it might be 3D. Okay, so it's probably not actually just a 2D engine. Yeah, no, it can definitely do 3D. Fez. Okay, so Monogame is very close to machine language. What the programming? Because all script gets compiled to machine language. So I think what really will bloat projects, like project size, is art assets, like music. When you don't want to compress your music, so music will be big. And I mean, yeah, like models are actually pretty okay in terms of, yeah, the pure code is very close to machine language. Yeah. I don't know if drive size really. Yeah, okay. I live in the US, and the Western developers tend to not compress their games and not optimize them, which is part of why we have to get beefier and beefier computers. But it doesn't mean that I want my game to run on as many people's computers as possible. And so one of the sort of like tenets that I'm going by is I need it to be as small as it can be file size wise and run with as little performance overhead as possible. Now thinking of that, should I be using Unity for that? Probably not. But I'll try my hardest. That's pretty cool. Okay, I need to get back to trying to make a tower. Even though it's not infuriating, but I'm sort of getting tired of trying to build things this way. Okay, what to do then? Because obviously, like, these are kind of sick. It's very basic. I don't know, you ever be like working on something and then you get hit with and you get hit with like a wave of like what I'm doing right now is not like what is next on the chopping block, and so you like don't get discouraged, but you're like trying to think of what you actually should be working on next. That's sort of what just hit me. I haven't really looked into many optimizing strats because I feel like you gotta have something built before optimizing it. Exactly. Now I wouldn't wait until the end to start optimizing it. I've done that before and it made it almost impossible to actually optimize. Like I made a game where there was a bunch of different levels, and even though the levels weren't big, the way that I originally had it was they were all stored in one scene, and then we just activated and deactivated game objects. This was, I think this was before you could additively load scenes in though. Actually, let me double check that. I don't know when they added the ability to additively load scenes, but it was like really hard to optimize because even though the objects weren't like enabled, I had to leave all of them in the same scene just because that's how all of the systems I wrote worked. And so I think to some extent, like build something, but like sort of like cat and mouse chase it. Like every time you build something, try and optimize it. Once it's working, I think the phrase premature optimization, Jesus, is the root of all evil. Yeah. And it's only that because if you try and optimize before you even have a working solution, you're going to prevent yourself from making a working solution. Yeah, things I could be wasting my time on. It's just perfectionism, really. The feeling you described is exactly what almost makes me quit almost everything I do. Yeah, well, because I think, I mean, I'm a programmer. I'm pretty sure you're a programmer. And the way that I sort of see a lot of things is like I need to be efficient. And unless I'm going to enable myself to do what is next quicker, it almost feels pointless. Yeah. It just feels like you're putting a bunch of effort that you don't need to put into the current thing. So like honestly what I'm thinking about is like, is there a way for me to progress a character controller? Because what I really want to be doing right now is building out the actual game. And even though a map is like content in the game, I really hate the word content. It's not like necessary for the game. You can change the maps, you can change the models, you can change all that stuff. But the mechanics and the systems that like underlyingly build the game, that's what I really like working on. And so the fact that I sort of sidestep from that is interesting. It's just a fun feeling to encounter, I think. And I think you have to at some point. I'm gonna really quickly take a gander at the FishNet Discord and see if there's a new release, but I don't think there is. And check if anyone has done anything with Collision. Why exactly did I pause working on it? So here, let me actually, you know what, I've been looking for an excuse to swap over to it. Let's just do it. Bring this off the screen. So I stopped working on it for, well, that's the same project we just had open. Okay, that's gonna be fun. For really one reason. I was working on trying to get different gravities working. So let me pull up an old prototype. So much here. Development. Where are the test builds? There we are. Okay, so this is an exe of the project in which I was building the map on. So if we go to the training ground, I'm on the server right now, so everything is gonna just flow nicely. I spent most of January and February implementing like the ability to fly around, go in and out of different volumes. And then there's like man cannons and stuff, which is sort of adjacent, but like there's different volumes in which control your gravity. So like you can jump in and out of this planet's atmosphere, and when you're in the atmosphere, it controls your gravity to always be pointed towards the center of the planet. And then we can swap. We can use man cannons to go in between these. It's a little jittery just because you can sort of see the quality of the sphere is not great. But I basically want to get these volumes working in the client-side predictive character, because they're super, like in this project, they're super jittery when you're not the host. But when you are the host, it feels pretty great. And so I want to get that working for everyone, because ultimately, like, there's a couple of maps that have not gimmicks, but like the feature of the map is like the gravity of the entire map changes every 20 seconds. And so you fight between 2 different floors. And then there's a planet one. If you really hate modeling, my advice would just be to do that in windows of time where you're tired of hard coding. Yeah. When I was working on the game jam that I mentioned earlier, because it was in Rust, I started the game jam and I actually did not know Rust at all. So whenever I got tired of being frustrated, I would work on a music track or some pixel art or something. Because even like that way you can still progress, obviously, without having to just bash your head into a wall. Because that's not fun. And if you only have 2 days, you're never gonna, like, bashing your head into the wall is not gonna fix anything. Oh, hey. I just got an email back from Ironside Computers, the people who gave me my computer. Yeah, let me show this off. So you're having jittering only on those volumes. I'm actually having a lot more. If I was only having jitter on the volumes, I would have just worked on the main project. But here, let me show this off. So I want you to be able to see both instances. The UI is going to completely break, and I apologize in advance. So this one's going to be the host, and then I'm going to join from this one as well. So if we set this map to the training ground, right now we can run around and it feels fine. And I'd bet that if we go here, running around still feels mostly fine. The basic stuff works, like running around and jumping, and even crouching, and I think dashing is all client-side predictive, because that's what I was able to get working back in February. But let's see if this will jitter. There's a little bit, almost a non-noticeable amount of jitter when we go into and out of a flying zone. I'm not 100% sure why. There's a bunch when we go through teleporters. And then honestly, the real kicker is if we go in and out of gravity zones. Also, after we sort of reconcile a couple of times, I don't know if you're able to tell, but every time I stop moving on this character, it sort of like snaps into place. And that's really annoying to play. There we go. Why are we jumping? There's a bunch of issues with the players reconciling or replicating incorrectly, and all of that comes down to ultimately, like, there are things that should be propagated to both the client and the server simulation that aren't, and so we're having a mismatch in permission between those two simulations, and so the reason that we get jitter, that one actually felt all right. I don't know why it is constantly jumping when we're in there, but there's some mismatch of permissions. I think the little snapping into place is because something is causing us to pause the ground constraint on the character, and we actually don't have that, which is why we slide a little bit further when we stop moving on the client, and then when we get data from the server, we reconcile to the proper place. But there's usually just some amount of jitter going in and out of these volumes, and then, like, I'm going to show you something, and then this has to be the last thing that I show you because it will completely break. So man cannons on the server work fine, and we're actually, because it's going to break the client, because I implemented it in such a way that it needs a reference to an object in order to work, and those references aren't getting passed correctly. Looks like you get jittering when outer gravity forces impact the client and the reconcile function doesn't know what to do with them. Yeah, so I implemented all of the volume stuff before FishNet unveiled the feature of network colliders and network triggers. And so that feature enables client-side predictive characters to sort of actually use the on enter and on exit events, whereas these are all just using normal collisions and normal on trigger and on trigger enter and on trigger exit events. And so because they're both just running on their own local simulations and there's no propagation of when we actually hit that volume, they go into the volumes at different times, and so the simulations will desync. It's a pain in the ass to just swap them. What do you mean swap them? Swap to the new colliders? I tried just doing that, but honestly I have been just having some issues with the prediction events firing. I don't know at what state this project's in, but this is the client-side predictive project, which I just last week spent a lot of time changing the mouse input to actually interpret properly. And I have a volume here which we can go into and out of, and it works fine. We have an into and an out of gravity event on the server. And let me just build this really quick. And I think one of the biggest issues I was having with this, and honestly the reason why it's stalled, is on clients the on exit event is just not running. And so because of that, there is jitter when we reconcile, and then we're fine. But there's just that one little correction that is kind of a pain. I'm gonna just start a server and drag it off the screen. Let's see. Okay, so we can't start a server, but we can start a client. There's the other guy. When we enter this, it's fine, and we get a bunch of in gravity volume log messages, but we never get an out message, and that causes that little bit of jitter when we actually leave the volume. Who is calling me? So that's what I was trying to fix, and so I could just swap to the predictive stuff in the main project, but I have sort of not like refactored. I haven't like restarted. A lot of the movement code is the same. It's just circumventing the actual like character component from easy character movement 2, which is here. So we just use character movement, which this character component is just an abstraction of that character movement. Just so that I know every single variable that has to go in and out. It doesn't look too bad. Honestly, I could probably just keep going and be fine, and I probably will. It was just enough to sort of get me to be like, why is this not working? And then I messaged the dev, when was it? That was just a while ago, I guess. I messaged them. I was messaging with them on the 11th, so I've kind of been stalled since then. But honestly, come to think of it, I could probably just push past that one little jolt, because I don't think it actually breaks any, like in the main project, if we have that amount of jolt, it then ruins the simulation for the client for the rest of them existing. So I think we could probably get away with just actually continuing to develop this character. I'm gonna turn off the server on here. Where is it? let's see. I just want to confirm that it's not messing things up further. So we can go in, which has a tiny bit of jolt when we go in, but it's fine. Yeah, and then we can run around and crouch. And I don't, yeah. Okay, so that all feels fine actually. Have you tried how it feels with some latency simulation? I want to. I actually don't know how to set that up. I know on the network manager there's, where is it? It's on the time managers. Like if I just add latency here, do you know if that, actually, can you see that? If I add latency here, do you know if, like, if I build this, if it'll be fine, or do I have to do that between two projects? I just haven't played around with it all too much. I do want to try it with some latency simulation. Yeah? Okay, so let's see. Add latency on the client host as well. It'll double for the host. Okay. So then I'll just add like 200 milliseconds. That is in milliseconds, right? Yeah. Okay. Ugh. Oh, what? That one's running. Okay. Yeah, let's see. I wish that there was a way for me. I guess I could pop this out. And we can drag the editor off screen. So that way you can see. Oh, no. I gotta actually angle it so you can see. Okay. I mean, I guess, like, this is still just a 1/5 of a second. But there's no noticeable jittering or anything that like it still feels like you're playing locally. If we go in here, there's a jitter on the way in. Ooh. So yeah, that out event never fired, and I guess it never actually reconciled proper. So we are now going up indefinitely. Okay, interesting. That's fun. Yeah. But the out event ran. Yeah, we got our issue. So it's a latency thing. Yeah. And the only thing that is controlling this is the... So I have a player volume trigger. VS Code, what the fuck are you doing? So we take in a network collision and then we hold on to that. And then these debug log messages are just happening on collision enter and exit using the FishNet component. And all it's doing is changing a value on the player pawn. So yeah, I'm actually not 100% sure why. Oh, is it still open? Okay, that's still open. I'm just gonna run another client and see if it happens on that too. Okay, so we can go in. That one worked. You know, that could be true, but then wouldn't it reconcile on, like, the server would be able to see that we're not in that volume anymore? Try and put a debug log out of the if loop. You mean like here? I'm assuming that's what you mean. That way it doesn't just run if we're reconciling, because I guess what could happen is like we just don't get the reconcile stuff. Yeah. Okay. You're gonna get closed, and you're gonna get closed, and just for good measure. I mean, we haven't changed anything about the simulation, so we can use one of these. Okay, that's going off screen for now. Okay, so we get exit events, obviously, because like we're touching the ground right now. So when we leave it, that's fun. I don't know why that one jolt happened. We're still not getting, I mean, we are getting the exit event. We're just not getting the gravity. And I know, like, I've tried taking this sort of check and getting the volume that we're exiting and then setting the gravity here outside of this are we reconciling condition. And what that ended up doing is we would, because this enter one runs every single tick for some reason, while we're inside the volume, we would run the exit event and then we would run the enter event and the gravity wouldn't actually change. And so we'd still have to wait for reconcile. I don't know if that's the best way of me explaining it. Yeah, we're at least getting exit events. That's good. Progress. But I wonder why enter is running so many extra times. Can't you just lock it to one time with a bool and reset the bool each time you exit? True. Okay, well, okay. I'm just gonna I can make this a little more what's it called, accurately written later. I just want to get this working. So if gravity volume equals null, then now we can just do if not toggle, and then we want to set toggle to true, and then again if not. We'll just throw all this in here. And here do toggle equals false. Oh, probably in here. I wonder if that'll work. Just want to check it again. So we only set the value if we have gravity volumes, that way it's not going to get pushed around by any other. It might even says the event fires only if toggle is true. Oh, do you mean this event? So like basically just like return, yeah, the exit event. So if, okay, that could work. I mean, I'll have to make this more extravagant, assuming this works, because ultimately we're gonna have to be able to like overlap, like you're swimming in an anti-gravity area, so there's two volumes, but that's fine. If it works, that's all we really need, right? Okay. Oh. Okay. That's going there. Okay. Interesting that the exit event ran 12 times. Okay. I don't know why I didn't just kill the client, but that way we could have kept the debug logs. Okay, so we get the exit event. So sometimes it will let us leave. Sometimes it won't. So I guess that's just like while it's reconciling, it won't let us leave the gravity. Okay. So then ultimately we could just put all this out here. And then it'll only run if we've already entered something. Okay. Looks like the gravity volume doesn't fire more than once. Maybe the toggle bool doesn't get reset properly. Let's see. I should have made it public, that way we could just look at it in the inspector. Okay, let's see. So we can go in, and then it only fires once on the way in, and then we get an exit event and we stop. In and out. I mean, there's still a little bit of jitter, which is fun. What's the yo? Is it because I mean, we are getting the exit event and we are getting that we're leaving the gravity volume. So that's at least like progress. But we are still getting the jitter. Let me bring this guy over so we can sort of watch him. So if we go in, he goes up, and there's so little jitter there though. It's just not noticeable because we're not controlling this player. Interesting. You get out of the... Yes, I do get it. So I guess, I mean, it kind of makes sense that is reconciling will always... I don't see much jitter. I only see it trying to go over it when it comes out from another roof. I guess that's true. Yeah. I mean, it would be harder to implement a more sophisticated system where we like check how much of the character is overlapping. Try and make the roof longer. Yeah, I'm gonna do it the other way. I'm gonna make the inside volume shorter, but it's the same thing. Oh, also something that's kind of interesting. So everything in the editor is actually like rotated upright, but now for some reason my camera in the editor is rotated wrong. I don't know how it got this way, but it got this way. Okay, so now there's a bit of a gap in between the roof and the volume. Okay, that's built. I'll do the client in here. Okay, so I was looking at it on the other one. Okay, so there still is a little bit of jitter. I don't know how many frames it is, but it's very few. It's very few. I'm just doing it multiple times, so hopefully one time it lines up with the stream, like what OBS is capturing, but it's still there. I still have latency going on. Yes. I don't know if that's necessarily going to matter though. Because ideally the system should be like robust enough that even with the latency, it just works and it still feels like you're running locally. I mean, obviously for like hit detection, the latency is gonna fuck you up, but it shouldn't. Well, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. I'm gonna turn it off. Let's see. Oh, hold on. I never enabled it. So we did not have latency. That makes it even weirder. Let's set this to 500. Half a second. Yeah, here. I'll build it once with it enabled. I just never clicked it. Okay. It's built. Okay. Whoa, look at that. Okay, so there's a lot more issues when we put latency on. But this is a whole half second of latency. Okay, so if we go in. Wow. Okay, so that's what half a second of latency looks like. Crazy. Yeah, no, usually there's no latency going on. Wow. Okay, so at least it does get corrected, at least. It just takes a moment. And our actual gravity doesn't seem to change on the event. In like, I haven't seen a game where you don't. Yeah, you're gonna feel it. I mean, half a second of ping is like detrimental to trying to play it. But it helps you see things like sort of as they're happening, I guess. So like if we look at this one debug message for going into the gravity volume, when we go out, or sorry, when we go in, it changes, or it calls that log message, but then it waits until we reconcile to actually change our gravity. So I think something that maybe might be happening, at least for jitter on the way in, is that we are reconciling our gravity value, and that's when it changes. It's not actually getting changed on replication. Okay, I'm going to edit this so that it's not that much latency. Okay, 100. I feel like 100 it's not like the most normal ping, but it's playable. Did I build it? I think I did build it. Okay. We have 100 milliseconds, which this still feels normal. Like I feel like I'm actually playing it locally. When we go in, there is a little bit of a jitter, a jolt. I think that is like the events are firing. What do you mean now it's super legit? Because there's definitely, it looks fine enough for 100 ping. Like the going in and out of gravities, I think it looks mostly fine. Yeah, so everything else is working fine. The only thing that has that little bit of jitter is into and out of the volume. So then we can at least say that, like, I think the core foundation, the moving around and jumping and looking of the character controller, that's probably fine with a little bit of latency. But I actually do think that we are reconciling this gravity change. So even though it is the prediction events are running, I think that we are reconciling the change. And at least part of that is going to be because on enter, we only run this if we're not reconciling. And so if we are already reconciling because our game is delayed, because we have that latency, then this is never going to get run. But it is getting run because there's a debug log. I don't think it's a problem of the CSP because then it wouldn't jitter on the way back to the... Wouldn't it jitter on the way back to the ground? What do you mean on the way back to the ground? Like when we... Oh, I wish there was a way to like slow this down frame by frame. But there is like one jolt. It's not really jitter, it's like one jolt where we actually correct everything and then it's fine again. Like the simulation once we're back on the ground is good, but right there there's one correction jolt. Once it's corrected, it's fine again. But it's just like going in. Like everything is fine when we're in the volume. But when we leave the volume, there's a jolt. And when we enter it. And so I'm unsure exactly why that's happening. I wish that I had a solution in which we could just like run it in an on stay event. If you notice, you stop flying in the exact same tick where you exit the gravity, so the event is delayed to... Is it actually? Hold on. Yeah! Hold on. You might be right. You might be right. My eyes are not good enough to really tell. But ooh. Okay, trying to spin around, there's definitely some latency, but there's definitely some reconciliation. But that's just because things are latent. Interesting. Okay. So I might keep working on this right now. I also am kind of hungry. So I might end stream in a little bit so I can go eat food, and I have to there's some errands I gotta run. I wish that there was like a not like kind of a flow chart for like how to debug issues like this, or like if it's this, if it looks like this, it's this, if it doesn't look like this, go here, check another thing. Because god, there's something about it and I just don't know what that thing is. My hunch is that the actual gravity is not changing until we reconcile, but I'm not 100% sure what would be causing that, unless like this gets called in reconcile, I believe. Yes, so this also gets called in reconcile. So I think what might be happening is that we are reconciling the same gravity that we had while we were in the volume, while we are exiting the volume, and then that overwrites the gravity change that we are doing locally, and so we have to reconcile the new gravity. Does that make sense? Like, it just order of events wise, we are reconciling with the earlier gravity, which is in the volume for that one tick, and then on that tick we exit, and so the next reconciliation tick we have the new gravity. Which would ultimately mean that it's, for the most part, fine. We're just not replicating correctly. Dumb question. Would you scale the trigger collision along with the actual game object? Which collider? Because I know the actual network collider object that FishNet has, it actually draws the collider slightly further out. It has an additional size. But then the volume itself should just be, it's a box collider, which is, yeah, the bounds are the same there. Whereas, where is our layer prefab? Here we have our capsule. What's the maximum simultaneous hits is 16. I don't know how, is there a way to check how many is like active at a time? How long a collision history to keep, lower values will result. So collision history is desyncing on clients with excessive latencies. Is there more of a actual like in-depth way checking how long? Those are okay, those are just so I'm gonna look at the docs. Yeah, okay, this is just generated with the tooltips network collider. Try bumping those variables just for a second. Yeah, I think that might be the play. So let's, I mean, I'm gonna bump this up to just 32 for now, and then history duration. Lower values will be better for memory usage at the cost of collision histories desyncing. Okay, just gonna change this to 1. We'll change both, and if it fixes it, then it should be fine. I also want to turn off latency just for now. Because I want to build it under ideal conditions, and then we can worry about latency. Okay. Oh, we have that one open. Okay. Yeah, that felt, both of those felt pretty normal. That's not normal though. Okay. Oh, what? Yeah, so our gravity is still upside down because when we jump, it goes down. Interesting. Okay. So if I like slowly exit, it's fine. And that, honestly, that feels normal. It's just the one out of who knows how many times that it shoots itself up. Which is kind of crazy. I don't know why it would be doing that. Unless, actually, hold on. Do we still have any of this stuff inside of... Okay, so something I want to try is removing these toggle checks. Just for now. Because I think it might actually just be an issue with those values on the component. Probably to make this feel even better, you could go the spaghetti way and make the collider a tiny bit smaller than for the visuals. Okay, so I had a thought earlier, because ultimately what matters is that the collider is an area, but what really matters is like how overlapped are we. So if we make the collider like just a ball inside of the player's body, then for checking volumes they would have to be within that. No, there's a better way of, there's got to be a better way of doing that. I know Easy Character Movement 2 has a way of checking how immersed someone is in like a water volume, so there might be something I can do to check that. Maybe. Anyways, I'm gonna build it without those toggle checks, because I think what's happening when we shoot up is that the toggle is still true, or something like that. Okay, I have the server running on the other screen. We go in. That felt pretty normal. That felt, I mean, it felt pretty normal. There isn't much of a jitter. That felt normal. Okay, I think that's all feeling pretty good. I'm gonna run this in another instance of the actual exe. Okay, that feels normal. That's about as normal as I think it can be. There is still like a frame of jitter. But in terms of like entering and exiting this thing, it feels pretty good. So yeah, I think what was happening, why we were like shooting off into the stratosphere, was that for some reason, we weren't setting the toggle to false. And how do I explain this? The toggle was still in whatever state would prevent it from exiting the volume. So I think that's a thing we have to check. I'm gonna get rid of this for now. But what's still concerning me is that there is that tiny little bit of jitter. It's really not noticeable though. Yeah, I couldn't feel it at all on that one. You know what? I think that's I think that's fine. It's either unnoticeable. Oh yeah, here, let me just slow this up. I'll put them side by side. Okay, and then I'm just gonna have this guy over here. So it feels pretty normal. Feels pretty normal. The only thing that I'm gonna have to change now is that the player's actually gonna need to rotate to be upside down, which will be fun. Yeah, no, it like changing those values. I don't know why I never thought to change those. So thank you for telling me to bump them. Actually made it feel a lot better. Like there is still a little bit of a jolt. Like on that one we got it, and on that one we got it, but for the most part it's smooth. And honestly, when I'm looking at the preview in OBS, you can barely tell that there's a jitter. Is that jolt there when the host does it? Let's look. Yes, but just oh so barely. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. But it's not there on the host. It's there when we're spectating the host as the client. So you're not going to be able to notice it when you're playing as the host. But you can sort of see the server jitter on the client side. No, that wasn't there. I didn't see it on that one. It was oh so barely there. I don't know if it's even like showing up, but it is. I can't confirm it's there. But it's like so unnoticeable. It's like I'm debating if it's even like worth pursuing that as a problem. Because I think the only two issues I have is like sometimes when players are spinning around, there's a little bit of jolt, and it's worse with latency. And then there's that like tiny little millisecond of jolt on the exit. So I don't know. Oh, that was Twitch chat. I did not mean that. Oh well. Oh well. Okay. All right. I am starving. I have not eaten since 9 a.m. my time, really. It's like as long as it doesn't desync the whole simulation for the client, it can be overseeable. Yeah, if there's just that little bit of jolt, I'll just make a note of it. I'm gonna write that down. And then like if it's just that, then obviously there is something with the volume exit that needs to be replicated properly, because the jolt is just it being corrected by the reconcile. So then as long as we have it narrow and we know what we can test later, then it should be all right. And you can even bump those variables higher just to see if it's really a network. See if it's only really a network trigger. Yeah. Yeah, I'll try that in a second. Let me actually just write this down. Okay, let's try maxing them out. I mean, what does this go to? Let's do, I mean, 64 and then 2. What's the other value actually? That's just the additional. This is used to prevent missed overlaps when colliders do not intersect enough. Okay, I'll leave that one. Okay. Okay, it's still there. But it's not like worse or better. Okay, I want to move the server. No, this one. Not super noticeable there. That's okay. Yeah, it looks about the same. I think that those variables definitely help like mask it a little bit, but I don't think that they need to be higher than they were earlier. So I think 1 and 32 is probably fine. What is it? Is there actually? I hadn't noticed that. Yeah, let's we want to be able to see the pings. Oh, it's for the server. No, maybe. I mean, they seem to just kind of be changing. Interesting. Yeah, it is a little random. It was worth looking into though. I mean, I'll take anything that I don't notice. I appreciate you shouting out so I can investigate it. Okay. I do think I gotta stop. My brain's gonna not implode, but like shut down because I need to eat. So that's probably where I'm gonna call it on the stream for the day. But I do appreciate the debugging help, and I appreciate getting to just chat for a little bit. I'll put some more time into this, and maybe by Thursday, because I'll stream again on Thursday. We'll see if I make any progress. It's 1 a.m. there. Oh shit. Yeah, it's 4:30 here. So we're kind of chilling. It's still light out. So all right. Well, I appreciate you sticking around. It's always nice chatting with you, and hopefully you have a good day or night or whatever whatever time it is there. Yeah. All right. I'll see you all around.